Is this the book that you mean, which was, because this is really, really well done. It's very, 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 this is the one, okay. Oh.
And this was also, which I didn't mention at all, and I don't know whether it's in the book clearly stated, but I had two projects which I was supposed to design. One was the government center with the family planning ministry, which I decided not to do, but to propose to the government, Louis Kahn, to design it. And the second one was the Lumbini project, the birthplace of Buddha, which again I said, no, I'm not going to do it, because Buddha is, for me, a god or a godlike figure with whom I have no direct contact. I want somebody to do this who is an Asian and who has more closer tie with this idea of Buddhism. So they said, who should this be? So then I proposed Khenso Tange.
Khenso Tange.
I proposed him. And he came to Nepal and stayed with me for some time, and we traveled with helicopter down to Buddha place, to the place, the birthplace of Buddha, and we discussed. And he, at that time, Tarragon was just finished, and Khenso Tange was very fond of Tarragon. And he said, why don't you come over to Tokyo, to my office, and we design together a Buddha place similar like the Tarragon. And so this is, in a way, it developed much later. I had already left, but I stayed definitely for 2 months, almost 2 months, in Tokyo with his office, where we made proposal for the Buddha place. So that was very, very exciting, and we were very close friends. It was really a wonderful time. And Kahn also came, and I invited him to my house with a photo there, and we had dinner there together, and we had nice talks. And I asked him one question about what kind of architecture is sort of you are very fond of, and he said, well, nothing specific, but there are two elements that architecture find exciting. One is when a building is not yet finished, but when you start imagining what is the intention behind and what it's going to be eventually, or what it could be eventually. That is the first thing. And the other thing is, if a building is ruined, if it's gone, and if there are only elements of the building there, when you still have a vision of how it has been, and these two questions, these two answers, to me, I will never forget, because they were, to me, valuable forever. And this was also one of the reasons why I was looking for this building, because it was a ruin, and it gave me the idea something could have happened, And I have several projects of that kind, like in Vienna, the Narrenturm project, which also is an interesting project which I designed. And another one is the Neugebäude in Simmering, for which I also have fantastic ideas exactly of that kind, that it is ruins, and I want to pick up ruin and use it in a way, with the memory of its past, but doesn't work. Nobody thinks like that, except Kahn and me. And the minister said, well, our advisor, Mr. Pruscha, he proposed this, and he seems to be very knowledgeable about this, and so I want this man. So then they called in Kahn, and Kahn came in, and he asked for a horrendous amount of money for his architecture fee, So the ambassador was very mad and called Kahn to his office and gave him a lecture, how stupid in a developing country to ask for this much money, and who are you, and why? And Kahn said, well, I think you better look up who I am. You find me in a dictionary, and forget it, and that's it, and walked out. And then and that same evening, I had invited Kahn for dinner to my house. And so I asked him, and he came and said, "Now, how was your talk with the ambassador?" And he was smiling and said, "Well, this idiot, he could sort of push me around like a young student, And so I told him that he's talking to one of the world's best architects. And that shocked him so much that he wouldn't even answer anymore, and I walked out, And that was, and then Kahn left Nepal the next morning, and then he went to Ahmedabad once more, and then he flew back to New York, where he died.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was obviously one of the last persons who met him alive.
Wow.
And who had dinner with him alive. Because he was, when he arrived in New York in Central Station, I think he went into a telephone booth, and then he got a heart attack, and there he died. Yeah, that's a sad story.
Well, it's really fascinating to the list of people that I've met. I started to make a little list, and there's one thing. I mean, this is all. Yeah. The official interview is over, right? It's still getting it's still getting recorded.
Yes.
But there's an amazing meeting you had, which I thought was very interesting. So you met this Greek architect, and you went on this island.
Which architect was this? Doxiadis.
Doxiadis.
Yes, I met him, yes.
And you met him, and he had this thing on Delos, on this island.
Yes.
And you met the cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead.
Yes.
Bertrand
and
Russell.
Bertrand Russell, yes. Because, you see, we had at Harvard, we had one lady, a professor, her name was Jackie Tyrwitt. Tyrwitt, she was a British lady and a geographer, planner, and she was one of the sort of permanent teachers. She also was working with Corbusier for some time, and so she was a very interesting person, and she knew practically the whole world, and she was also known to Doxiadis, and so she arranged, and Doxiadis made once a year in summer, he made big meetings on the island of Delos, and for this meeting he invited some of the younger professors and also some students. And I used to, because I was very close with Jackie Tyrwitt, with this professor, she liked me very much, and she asked me also to join to Greece, to Delos, and to Doxiadis. That was very interesting, yes.
And Doxiadis was into developing countries.
Yes.
And
yes.
yeah.
He was also the planner and designer of Islamabad.
Ah, yes, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But many other places in the world, in Africa, and also in America itself. He did a lot of planning, and he has a big company, and he was a very exciting person. He was sort of the architect. He looked very much like the husband of Callas. What was it?
Ah, okay, the Greek billionaire.
Yeah. He was that kind of type.
Okay.
Always very elegantly dressed and very very worldly type of, very interesting man. Yeah.
But these meetings are in Delos, which
Yes, not well. He had a big office in Athens, and we first met in Athens. We stayed some time, a couple of weeks in Athens, and he gave all his lectures there, and it was very interesting. And he showed his projects and so on. And then at the end, then the whole VIPs arrived, and on his yacht. He had his own yacht. We only traveled with regular boating, but the VIPs were on his yacht and to Delos, and then we met there. And, yeah.
But that's a wonderful idea, no? It's something we could do today, maybe on one of the Greek islands.
Yes.
And
it would be nice. Yeah.
And Bertrand Russell, I mean, he's also such an icon as one of, I mean, probably the most influential mathematician of the last century. How was he? How did you talk with him?
No. There was. We couldn't talk to any one of these celebrities because they came and there was a big ceremony with candles and they were dressed with some white gown and there was the ceremony in the original place in Delos where the ceremonies in old days took place. It was like a ceremony. Right?
So it was more like a ritualistic
like a ritual, yes. And several years ago, we decided that some of the students from the School of the Urban Design who studied together would meet once a year. So the first meeting was in Boston, and we really met all together, those who were still alive. It was quite nice, and some of the professors were still alive, and we met. And also Fumihiko Maki especially came from Tokyo, and he was also with us. So it was very nice. And then we met another place. We met in Vienna once, and I took them to Tugendhat to Brno, and we had a nice place. And also we stayed here and had dinner outside, and it was nice. And then we met in Barcelona and where else? And then Maki invited us to Tokyo. That was his 90th birthday. And so we all went to, those who were still alive, went to Tokyo, and we had this evening. And I made, at the Austrian embassy, I made a dinner for Maki. And so we all had the student friends and Maki with his wife and the ambassador, and we all, I was the host there to invite them all for dinner. That was very nice. And it was the last time that we had a chance to meet Maki, because meanwhile he died, But interesting enough, many of the students who were there also died. Even Koichi died. Koichi also is dead, and others as well. So I think there are only 3 of us, me and 2 more, who are still alive. That was very, very sad. Yeah. And that time in Tokyo with Maki was very nice. He was still very alert, and he was taking us around and showing us all his projects, and it was very exciting. But then,
No, but you led an incredibly exciting life. I mean, all these encounters and and the worlds, the different worlds that you were moving in and out of. That
Well, and I met Niemeyer. Many times.
Niemeyer, of course.
I met him many times. Yes, because when I was the head of the Courier for art and science at the president office, you know, at Heinz Fischer's office. I was often sent by him to meet certain people, you know, who were not able to come to Vienna because of one reason or another, like the old lady from France. What is her name? The famous, huh? Wie? Yeah, Louis Bourgeois. She was living in New York, and so I went to meet her there, and yeah, that was very exciting. Yeah.